Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. In the last update I worked on the ramp and the bridge which lead from the lower levels of Gotham City up to the raised platform area. And in this update I want to work on the raised train line. I'm going to be having the train station on the raised platform here, just where the Lego bag is. And the train line is going to come along this road just here. So we're going over the top of the road. It's then going to come possibly through a building and then along the pathway along the waterfront just here. And then when we get to this road here, again, it's going to be going over the road, turning left, under the bridge, over the rear of the docks partly, and then back round, back under the bridge along there, onto the raised platform. And that's the loop completed. Now with the train supports, we have got our previous design, which I think I'm probably going to keep in certain parts, especially over the back there. I did get some new parts in for the cranes of Gotham, which I'm going to experiment with those just to see if they come up with a better look. And we also need to come up with a completely new design for the ones along the waterfront just here. So without further ado, let's get those train supports out and see what we can come up with. And we're well underway with the raised train line, and I've gone for these supports here along the waterfront, and it's the same design as I had originally going over the road, but just brought closer together. And there's an archway connecting them at the top for a little bit extra strength. I could put some beams going across to give it a little bit more stability. It is very strong, but I think just a plate going across might make it look a little bit better as well. But I'm not 100% sold on this design. It's just the best I can come up with at the moment. I've been experimenting all morning and haven't come up with anything I really like. So I think I'll leave these as they are for the time being, and we'll revisit it at a later date. The one thing is, it's going to look completely different once I've put the support struts all the way along here. So there's going to be a wider section sitting on top of this, which the train track then sits on top of. So it'll probably change the whole look of it once I've done that. So I think I'll probably do that first and then decide whether or not I want to change the actual support pillars over. Now this bit of track down the end here, this is going to go through a building, or at least that's the plan at the moment. I put a second train line in along here. Now, what I'll probably do is just have a train sitting on there, but it won't be one that's operational. For when it gets to the train station, which is going to be on this bit here, where the fire station is currently resting, the train track will just stop there. So I put a stopper on, so the train comes in, stops, and then just goes back out the opposite direction. Now, one problem I am having is right here at the moment. Originally, I had it so it was doing 90 degrees to the right, then 90 degrees back round that way to go under the bridge. I have just changed it to go diagonally through here, and I don't like that because it's going to interfere too much with the iceberg lounge. So I'm going to go back to my original plan of 90 degrees each way. But when we come around here, it's too close to the back of the docks. And if there was anything happening at the back of the docks, then it's going to be, the vehicle is going to be hitting the train track basically. So I need to bring the docks forward if I can. Now the good thing is I have got 16 wide base plates at the very front here, so I could bring it forward by 16 studs. I would have ideally liked to have had a lot more water on the front here as I've got it at the moment. However, I think it's more important to have the train line operational and fit in nicely on there. At the moment, the train line, when it comes round to do the loop to go back down the opposite direction, it's almost up where the police station's resting at the moment. So yeah, I just need to try and work out how I'm going to fit this all in without taking anything away from the actual structures on here. It might be that I do have to go quite wide onto the raised platform on there, and then I just have to build something for the buildings to then sit on top of, because at the moment the plan was to have the hospital in that section. So I could have it, the train line goes under the hospital and it won't take anything away from the look of it. So yeah, plenty of decisions yet to make. So let's have a good think about this, and then what I'll do, I'll check back in once we've made a decision and see how it looks. And I think we come up with a solution for the train track. I've got all the train track down how I think I'm going to have it in Gotham City. So we've now gone back to the 90 degree right hand turn and then 90 degrees to the left. I've moved the docks forward, so I've peeled off those base plates, and that's meant that the track at the back here is now behind the docks, whereas previously it was hanging over it. Then we come along here, doing the full 180, but coming back out off of the raised platform so we can join up with the track that goes along that edge just there. Now at the moment, I feel like this here is a little bit too close to where the road's going to be coming down to join the raised platform to the docks. So all I need to do is just remove one length of track from here and one from here, and then that'll just push everything up nicely. So that's where we're at the moment. What I'm going to concentrate on now is I'm just going to make the mills plates up that'll be going along this section just here, and that'll work out perfectly now. They're 48 by 48s. Previously they were 32 by 32s, and I was a couple short, whereas I've got plenty of 48 by 48, so I can get this all back to how it should be. And once I've done that, I'll turn my attention to making all of the train supports that we need to get it all sorted. Not sure what style I'm going to go for along this section just here, as I will be having buildings, so I want to try and keep it as minimalistic as possible. So I might do a completely different bridge support for that section, not using the ones that we've got there. And this has taken absolutely ages, but we're finally getting there, and really happy with the strength we've managed to get into this. And the technique that I'm using, I've got these 8x8 grill plates, as I like to call them. I'm putting some black bricks across the top of them. I'm joining each of the 8x8 plates with some 2x2 bricks there. I'm also putting one either side of the square there, so it's not actually attached to anything. And then I'm putting 4x6s all the way along. Then the track goes on top, compresses it all together, and it's giving it all the strength that I'm going to need. Now on the corners, it's a little bit more complex because of the angles everything's at. I was needed to find a way of getting the strength into there and keeping a similar design. So what I've done is I've actually attached a bit of track to the support here. And then I'm going to build off of the studs on the end on both of them here. Going to put some plates coming out, and then I'll attach another track over the top. So I'm using twice as much curved track on here as is actually going to be used by the train, just so I can strengthen that all up. But I do think that that is going to be the perfect way of getting all of the strength I need into this raised platform area. Now down this end here, we are going to have to come up with some other technique for connecting it, as it's only these two rows of plates here which will actually work. Now this has taken a long time to get done. I got it all put together quite quickly, and then I discovered that this was probably the best technique for me to use. So I had to peel it all off, move it down just by 2 studs, and yeah, a lot of it, all of these support pillars were stuck so well to the top here that a lot of them fell apart. So I had to rebuild them, but yeah, getting there at long last, and really happy with how it's coming along. Now I will be putting a lot more detail on these raised train lines. Whether I put some grill tiles maybe along the side, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's just a case of getting the structural side of it sorted, and then further down the line we'll see what pieces we can pick up, hopefully off the pick a brick wall. They'll enable us to get this all decorated in a nice Gotham like style. And there's the first 2 sections of curved track reinforced, and it's got so much strength. Really pleased with how that has come out. So that technique has worked a treat. I am still going to put a support beam down the centre there, and that's just purely for stability. Strength wise, the train can go round there and it won't break. It's just so that it doesn't tilt at all while the train's got the weight on that particular part. Now with these raised train lines, they're using a lot of pieces that I haven't got any more of, mainly these 4x4 dark bluish grey plates and the 2x4. 4x6, I'm getting very low on those as well. However, they are readily available, or have been, off of the pick a brick wall. However, the 4x4 and the 2x4, they're not on the pick a brick wall. What I am considering doing is changing these plates up for black. The last few times I've been to Dublin, they have had the 2x4 plates on the wall, so I could just change all of this out for black, all of it. So instead of having a 4x6, I have 3 2x4s and so on. That way I can get all of this raised train line completed using pick a brick parts. The base is pick a brick, the black bricks I'm using around the side, they're all from the pick a brick. And that would be a really good option because it means it's so much cheaper to do. You're not really going to see that much of these dark bluish grey plates once I put all of the finishing touches on the top of it. Whatever I do is going to be covered over. So it's just literally this side edge that you're going to see. So I think that is something I'm almost certainly going to do. Next time I'm up in Dublin, I'm up there for the Lego convention this coming weekend, but whether or not I'm going to have a chance to get to the Lego store, I'm not sure. So yeah, just need to have a think about that. But it would be so nice if I could get this whole raised train line all reinforced and completed over the next week or two. As that is one thing I want to do, is get the train running around Gotham City. So yeah, plenty of decisions to make with that. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to knock up one section of track just to see how it looks. And if it looks good, then that's the route we'll go down. But what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to see if I can clear some of the water section there, which was for the submarine pen. I should have brought it forward before I did anything else, and I didn't. So I've now got to stretch over there and get that all up. And then I can start working on the supports, which are going to be going behind the bridge support there and also the docks for the train line. And that's the section behind the docks for the raised train line, all reinforced. And I've gotten as far as I can go with the parts I have available. I've shortened the track by the 16 studs I mentioned before, so it's not as close to the road there, and just need to do the same over the other side once I get round to that part. But it's so nice seeing this train line all up and knowing that it's going to be strong enough as well to take the weight of the train is also very satisfying. And we're starting to make some progress here on this section and really happy with how it's coming along. We've got the crossing there for pedestrians and we've put in another drain. And this is a different style to the one I did near the entrance to the Wayne Terminus. And on that one, I used a couple of tiles, but I had a message come through from Mikauta, who did a Gotham mock a couple of years ago, and he did an amazing job on that. And I'll leave a link to his video in the description of the video. But he told me that he used this part just here. And I thought, it looks really good, the details you've got on there. However, due to the way that I'm doing the snot roads, I couldn't fit one in. So all I've done is put a tile in on the actual base plate itself, then got the round version of this in a plate form, put a tile on the bottom there, and that goes in there seamlessly. So really pleased with that design. So thank you so much for sending that message through to me. It really does look so much better, I think. But the part of the mock I'm super happy about now is if we come down here, look at the lines going around the corner. I think that looks so good. And what I've done here is I've used the sloped here, they're the grill cheese wedge pieces here. So I'm using the snot technique, so popping in either direction. Then we've used a 45-degree slope there and an inverted slope. But yeah, really happy with how the markings have come out on the road there. Over here, I'm doing a storm drain, I suppose you class it as. So I put some cheese wedges on that section there to give it a little bit of a slope down, and then I'll tile over the top of it like so. And again, I just think that gives it a nice effect that you would expect to see on the side of a road. But anyway, what we're going to do now is just carry on tiling this section off, put the plates around the corner there, get all the finishing touches done, have a bit of a tidy up, do some more tiling, and I'll check back in once I've done so. Now on this section here, we've got the wall going at a 45-degree angle, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tile over these plates here, and then I'll attach some more bricks to the back of this row just here. Then that should cover up the gap nicely, and fingers crossed it's going to look seamless. So yeah, hopefully that'll look good. But anyway, let's get that wall sorted out, do some more tiling, check back in once we finished it. And this is the part of mock building that I absolutely love. It's when you have a little bit of a technical challenge, which is what we're having here. And it's all to do with the tiling on this section. I want to build the brick wall and lose the gap along there. So the next brick wall will actually rest on these tiles. However, these plates aren't quite in the same angle as the wall, so we need to sort of like come up with a compromise for it. The problem I've got is when the next tile goes on just here, we need to put the triangle tile on this bit here, and there's no stud for it to connect to. I'm worried about it falling in the gap there. So we're going to go for an illegal building technique here. Can't beat one of those. So we're using one of these modified plates just here, and that's going to go in like so underneath there. And now the tile can just sit in there and it's not going to fall anywhere. And the other good thing as well is everything else is just going to keep it nicely in place. Now the other problem we've got now are that these two studs here overhanging just a fraction. So if we put these quarter circle tile pieces on there, then that will just about do the job, and we can do the same on there. And now I can build the brick wall up. And just checking one final time for this update, and here we have the wall on the tiles, and I think it's worked out perfectly. No gaps at all, so that's all good. And it's nice having a wall at an angle there rather than at a right angle. I just think it adds that little bit more character to it. It doesn't look as Lego-y, should we say, where everything's left or right. It's yeah, nice to have different angles. But yes, so pleased with this line here. I think it's come out so well, and I'm sure I'll be using that technique again in other parts of the city. Just need to decide whether or not I want to have double yellow lines at the top of the ramp there, or whether or not we want to have the white line. If I go for the white lines, then I could do it round the left-hand turn there. If not, I'll be going for the T-junction, as somebody suggested in the last video. But yeah, really happy with how this is all coming together. It's so nice seeing the city back to pretty much the condition that it was at before. Loving this race train line. It's so sturdy as well. And as I mentioned, I can't wait to get to Dublin. Hope they've got the bits on the pick brick wall that I need to get this all completed, so we can then get the train just running around to see how well it goes. Now, one thing I have got to decide, this is something I've been trying to sort out in my head for such a long time now, is what buildings are going where. These buildings are just placed here at the moment. So the Old Wayne Tower, that is its home, but the Flatiron S building, that won't be there, and the Monarch Theatre, not sure whether that'll be there. Might come down this way, but it needs to be in a dodgy-ish area. So I suppose quite close to the Iceberg Lounge, which is going to be under the bridge, is quite appropriate. But one building I do want to have in here is a cathedral, and I'm thinking about putting it just here. Obviously, it's going to be an old building. The Old Wayne Tower is an oldish building, and I'm thinking up here as well, I'm going to be putting older buildings as well. That's the plan at the moment. But I need to just make sure that I'm getting everything in the right place. I want to get a lot of height into the city, so I want to have a lot of skyscrapers. And I was thinking about having them on the raised platform. By putting them on the raised platform, when you stand here, they're going to look really tall. But when you're over there, they don't have to be as tall because they're already raised up. But I am running out of room over there. So when you bear in mind that we've got the road at the back, I'm going to be having a train station just here. There's not going to be any room, or barely any room behind there, unless I do the road going through a tunnel, which you then have buildings on top of. That's a possibility. That might work, and it might look pretty good. Over this side here, the other side of the raised bridge where we currently got the fire station, I want to have the hospital over on there. I'm thinking about where Ace Chemicals at the moment. I'm considering now having the Joker's Funhouse on there, and then Ace Chemicals will be down the other side. And the reason I'm thinking that, excuse the mess, is if I do some rock work here and have Ace Chemicals on there, I can have a much bigger Ace Chemicals, but it'd be quite good to have the chemicals spilling out into the ocean there from a pipe. I think that'll look pretty good, but that is a massive area over there. So whether or not I extend the raised platform and then possibly have a couple of taller buildings, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's lots of planning I need to go through with the city to make sure that I can get everything in. I've no idea at the moment where the fire station's going to go. I suppose it could potentially go along this section just here, but it might clash with the train line there. So yeah, lots of decisions to make with this. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for watching, bye, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.